what teams have been most impressive at these European Championships so far. I think there's multiple ways to do it. I think I'm gonna give you all my top five. My top five. Most impressive, or yeah. This is interesting. Interesting because it's changed up a little bit. There's some teams that had a strong match day one, but not as good in match day two, which is match day two is when you really, is when you separate the amazing game ones from the pretenders. So I'm gonna go. Okay. I'm gonna give you out my top four. No, I'm gonna give you out my top three actually. Top three. Because those, I think three stand out and the rest are meh. But here's some teams that I did not have in this top three. England, they've been so disappointing these European Championships. They proved why they will not win it. They have no chance to win it. They have no chance to beat the three teams that I'm about to put as my top three most impressives. Because number one, the manager does not know what he's doing. The players, there's a lack of leadership. There's a lack of quality too. I mean, people talk about the amazing quality amongst this team, but we're sitting here debates talking about this midfielders. There's no ball progression within this midfield. Defensively, they have a right-footed left back. They have a right-footed left back, and then their backup left back hasn't not played a game since February. In terms of they have a midfielder, they have a right back playing in midfield because they want to find a way to get him in there, but they're not clever enough to put him where he is his best. Like, let me give you an example. Frimpong, what Ronald Koeman did getting Frimpong in this game against France, he plays him on the right-hand side, but plays him in a little bit of advanced position. That's the cleverness you need from a world-class manager, where you have two players, two very, very strong right backs, but they're two such a quality players, and you can't leave them out. So you find a way to get Frimpong in there in a position that he can be deadly. He's not playing Frimpong in as a striker or something of that stupid nature. No, just because Trent Alexander-Arnold has a lot of quality and can pick a ball doesn't mean you should put him as a 6. He's not a midfielder. Put him in another clever position that you can work with him. Now, I understand he has such talent, and you don't want to waste that talent on the bench. And we'll look back on this 5, 6, 7, 8 years saying, how the hell did Trent Alexander-Arnold be on the bench for these European Championship or the last World Cup and all that? Yeah, I understand that. But if you're going to put him in there where he could be deadly. Now, I wouldn't say you bench Kyle Walker, no. But, you find a clever position like the way that the Dutch used him on the right-hand side, the right side of the midfield. I think Trent could be deadly in that outfit. Not playing as a 6, receiving the ball of a back line back to goal. He's too slow for that. He can't. He's too. And number one, you have no real movement coming from your wingers, your strikers, no diagonal runs that he can even pick out. Or, so what are you expecting him to do? What are you expecting him to do? You take out his best ability to whoop a ball in when you put him in the center. I don't want to talk too much about England, but there's just too much issues for England. They're going to lose to the first real team that they play in the knockout stage. I didn't have Italy in here because I thought Italy had a good game one, but were really, really disappointing and just completely outplayed in that second game. I mean, they were really outclassed. They couldn't get their foot on the ball for a majority of that game. So I couldn't really put England in this in terms of most impressive. Netherlands, I think they were already shaky in game one, a little stagnant in this game too against France. I thought, I was impressed with how they were able to, stay with France. But again, this is what France do. So I couldn't really put them in the top 3. And then Portugal, I'm hugely over them. I think they have, that first game was so disappointing. I've talked about my problems with Ronaldo. I don't know if he's the kind of guy that can lead the line for a team to win the European Championship at this stage in his career. I don't trust their manager in Roberto Martinez. I think they have a lot of players that are bottlers. Besides Vitinha, that's the only one that I really trust in these sort of big pressurized situations. So, yeah, I'm clear about Portugal. But my top 3 teams, in no particular order, obviously France. Now if you look at these 2 performances that France have given us at this European Championship, you cannot come out of these and say that this French team is a you know, been so impressive. They haven't been, but with past knowledge, knowing how France want to play under Didier Deschamps, and just knowing their style of play, and the fact that Mbappe was out the second game, their main talisman, you still have to put them in your top three in terms of teams that have impressed the most, because we know this is the way that France want to play, and we know that they can get results like this. Even in this game, that they couldn't really create much going forward. They still have two massive opportunities that they could have had to get that a goal, to make this game a little bit more comfortable. They weren't able to take advantage, so they came out and with 0-0. They're happy with that result, obviously, because they don't want to go into that final game with only 3 points. But this is just the way France play. Now, their performances haven't been great, but this is what we expect from them. France, they're generally more of a pragmatic team in their approach. They love winning the 1-0 type of games because they're willing. They have the discipline and the desire to defend for 85 minutes, be on their back foot. They don't care, and they take advantage in transition with the quality of the likes of Mbappe, Dembele, Thuram, Griezmann, all that. They have so much quality in that team that they're able to be on the back foot, to not have many chances, but they're still clinical with their chances. That's just the France way. They take advantage in transition, so you definitely have to put them. Now, the top two, these two teams have been very, very impressive these European Championships. Germany, they've had a dominant European Championship. They start off with a bang against Scotland, 5-1, and huge, amazing performance, but they were allowed to perform that way. When you look at the likes that Toni Kroos had 8-9 years to make a play, so we wanted to see Germany against another team, and they went into Hungary and they played another very, very good game, very comfortable game. They were able to get 2-0. They showed their quality in certain moments. They showed their ability to defend and transition with Rudiger and Tah, which were tested a little bit more. This Germany national team is deadly. With the fact that they're playing this European Championships at home, that makes them an extreme contender. Now, we went into these European Championships, with a relatively unknown, because their performances at the past few international tournaments have been very, very poor. We could not, there's no two ways about it. But I will say this, if this wasn't a home European Championship, we'd probably go into this game this tournament realistically thinking quarterfinals would be successful for Germany, because of the whole fact that, Germany has not been a team that's really, done well in major international tournaments recently. They were really, really bad in the build-up, besides this last international window, or the international window that Toni Kroos came back in a few weeks ago, where they got the result against France and Netherlands. France and Netherlands. Besides that, they have not. They've been very, very disappointing. They lost games to Japan, Austria. It was just really, really bad. And France or Germany, we would have realistically expected quarterfinals would have been a good performance, because it shows a level of progression. They've been eliminated in the past few group stages, and then the European Championship, in the World Cup, and then the European Championship, they're in the round of 16. So we're just looking at progression with this team, and quarterfinal would have been progression. Now, the fact that it's a home tournament, you always, you got to add a round to it, and an extra round of expectations. So for me, I thought semifinal would have been a good run for them. But the way that they've been performing in these games with Nagelsmann, the dominance, the way the nation is, getting back with Germany again, you have to say this is a team that should, that can really win this whole European Championship. And now the expectation is that they will win this European Championship. And, it's a good time to be a German fan now. Now we'll see them against Switzerland. They have this, $1 million question. Do we rest? Do we not? Do we do this? Do we do not? I think it's very important for Nagelsmann to manage the situation. He has Andrik is already on a yellow. That's something he'll look at. You also have some players that might need rest, blah 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 blah. So it's interesting to see how he approaches that final game, but they're definitely a deadly team. In Spain, in my opinion, the most impressive team in this European Championship, because of just the way the dominance. You had two completely different games. In the first game against Croatia, they showed their new ability to play direct, to play vertical, to be vertical, to play direct, to to be clinical, to win a game despite being outpossessed. This is characteristics you don't give of the Spanish national team, and they were so good. They were so clinical. They were direct. There's a few opportunities where they could have played the safe ball and going side and back and retaining possession, but their midfielders looked up and played a ball in behind. It was just great to watch. And in the second game, we saw a little bit different against Italy. We saw their pure Spanish ability to be able to control possession, to really pass you to death, and they were able to get the breakthrough there and completely dominate that Italy game. They able to show us that second game that they still have that Spanish ability to them of being able to pass you to death, but they also have an added element of being able to be vertical and direct. That is massive, massive, and that's what being able to have that sort of flexibility makes the Spanish team a deadly team. So for me, I think they've been the most impressive team at this European Championship. And right now, if I had to say, I don't know if they're the favorites. I think Germany, with being the home team, might be the slight favorites. But Germany, France, Spain, I think these are clearly the class of these European Championships up to this point at least. And yeah, we're gonna have a great knockout stage, and hopefully we get to see these three teams, all take on each other, because the best games, the more amazing games, the better. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us. Please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. I also ask you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content updates. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Let's go.